to you live from Petoskey, Michigan. It's Northern Michigan's only live and local afternoon talk show, WMKT's Talk of the North. Something on your mind? Call our studio line at 866-371-1270 or connect on social media at Triple Talk WMKT on Facebook and X. Now, bringing you the latest news from the region, states, and around the country. Here's your host, Nick Rudy.
Good afternoon, Northern Michigan. Welcome to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk WMKT, streaming online at WMKT, I'm Nick Rudy, your host. Happy Monday. Welcome to another show, and I'm happy to be back in the saddle here at the WMKT studios. Had a nice few days off last week, and thanks to producer Austin for holding down the fort while I was out. A funny story real quick. So I told you earlier last week that I'd be out Thursday and Friday because I was heading downstate for a concert, and Wednesday night after the show, I played pickup soccer, as I often do, and managed to sprain my ankle, not once, but twice. In all my years of playing sports, probably the worst injury I've ever had, and it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, which just goes to show you I haven't really ever been hurt, but poor timing. As Thursday, I was driving for 6+ hours, standing in line for 3 hours, and on the lawn at the Pine Knob for a couple more hours. So survived, though, just a little bit of ill timing. Had a good time, all things considered. We'll take a look and see what the weather is looking like early this week as we barrel through the month of August here up north. I'll tell you what, I was just telling you guys, it's the beginning of August. We're in mid-August now. It's crazy. But tonight, partly cloudy, a low around 56. Tomorrow, partly sunny, mild, a high near 78. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy, a low around 58. Wednesday, partly sunny, about a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, a high near 77. And Wednesday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 57. Coming up on the show today, much to get to, catching up from the long weekend we had on Talk of the North, an update on a murder case out of Traverse City. Boyne City's police chief is stepping down, and we will be joined by the organizer of a unique fundraiser taking place in Rapid City this Friday. Before we get to all of that, it is time for WMKT's Market Watch. The Dow Jones dropped 60 points down to 53,975. The Nasdaq dropped 85 points to 26,605. The S&P 500 fell 4 points down to 7,753. Bitcoin dropped $720 down to $64,097. Gold gained $48.85 up to $4,338, while silver gained $2.27 up to $65.71. In blue chips, notable winners today include Johnson & Johnson, Stryker Core, Space Exploration Technology, and Electronic Arts. Notable losers today: Apple, Intel, Whirlpool Corp, NVIDIA, DTE Energy, and Deere & Co. Biggest gain today: Bauman Consulting Group up 55% rather. The biggest decline of the day, Ciena Therapeutics down 91%. That has been WMKT's Market Watch. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, lots of local news to get into. That's headed your way after these messages. You're listening to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk WMKT.
When you need convenient, reliable lab or x-ray services, the experts at Munson Healthcare deliver fast, accurate results. Munson's Petoskey Community Health Center offers walk-in x-rays and lab work Monday through Friday with early morning hours. No appointment needed. Get the answers you need on your schedule with convenient discounted cash pay options available. Visit munsonhealthcare.org/Petoskey to learn more.
You've been diagnosed with COPD, but breathing seems to be getting harder. Everyday activities, walking to the mailbox, going up the stairs, talking on the phone, take more effort than they used to. Is this you? If your COPD symptoms are getting worse, there may be options that can help you breathe easier and get back to doing more of what matters to you. Visit the COPD Foundation website at isthisyoucopd.org to learn the signs of severe and worsening COPD and the right questions to ask next. Take action today, breathe better tomorrow.
Integrity, vigilance, service to country. These aren't just words we throw around. They're part of us. They make us who we are. And we're looking for people who feel the same. As a Border Patrol agent, you are critical to national security. Every mission is different. Drugs, human trafficking, illegal weapons trades. But you have one job, keeping our country safe. Are you ready for the challenge? Visit careers.cbp.gov.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, I believe in good versus evil. And I believe Israel's good, Ukraine's good, and Taiwan is good. I believe the Islamo-Nazis are bad. I believe Russia's bad. And I believe Communist China and Xi are bad. It's not too complicated to me. And these are our allies.
Mark Levin is on the radio.
Weeknights at 6 on WMKT.
Local news, local voices, and the conversations that matter. You're listening to WMKT's Talk of the North with Nick Rudy on 102.3, 103.3 FM, and 1270 AM Triple Talk WMKT. And streaming across the state of Michigan at WMKTTheTalkStation.com.
Welcome back to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk WMKT, streaming online at WMKTTheTalkStation.com. Police are investigating after human remains were discovered Saturday afternoon in a wooded area on Grand Traverse Band Reservation property in Peshabe Town. Tribal police have not identified the deceased or released details about the circumstances surrounding the death. Boyne City Police Chief Kevin Spate is retiring after 27 years with the department, including the past 6.5. As chief, his final day will be September 30th. Spate says the department is in strong position with experienced staff, community support, and a succession plan in place. He hopes Assistant Chief Dan Mercer will succeed him. Spate says he plans to work part-time for the Charlevoix County Sheriff's Office and continue with the Boyne Mountain Ski Patrol. Two 15-year-old boys have been apprehended after allegedly vandalizing multiple construction sites and stealing tools in Long Lake Township. Michigan State Police say the teens entered a home under construction on August 1st and caused significant damage inside and outside the property. 5 days later, troopers responded to another construction site where about $3,000 in tools were stolen. Investigators identified the two juveniles and estimate the total property damage at around $30,000. A judge has ordered an independent competency evaluation for 19-year-old Hunter Vanderwall, who is charged in the 2025 shooting death of Traverse City Parking Services employee Lawrence Boyd IV. Vanderwall's defense raised concerns about his memory, attention, and cognitive functioning. A doctor who previously evaluated him still considers him competent to stand trial. The judge also denied a request for bond with GPS monitoring, so Vanderwall remains in custody. A follow-up hearing is scheduled for September 18th. A Benzie bus caught fire Saturday afternoon along M22 near Frankfort, also sparking a small wildland fire. Everybody aboard was safely evacuated. M22 was temporarily closed between Ellsworth Trail and Heron Road as firefighters responded and the bus was removed. The cause remains under investigation. Benzie bus confirmed with our newsroom the bus was propane-powered, and Interim Executive Director Chad Hollenbeck credits the driver with getting passengers to safety. Habitat for Humanity Grand Traverse region is developing an 8-unit townhome complex in Kalkaska aimed at helping working families who are priced out of the area's housing market. The Court Street Station project will replace the traditional down payment with a 200-hour sweat equity requirement that includes construction work, property maintenance training, and financial education. Applicants must earn about $24 an hour or roughly $4,100 a month. Habitat will work with lenders to provide mortgages based on each family's income, with the goal of creating affordable, stable home ownership and allowing residents to build equity. The first 4 townhomes are expected to be completed by the end of the year. An open house is scheduled for Saturday from 10 to 1 at Court Street Station. Mesa Consolidated Schools is opening a grocery store that is free for students and their families. Starting the week of August 31st, the school food club will operate out of a former home economics classroom with no income requirements or applications. Students will receive weekly points to spend with healthier foods, costing fewer points than items like chips. The program is a partnership with the Michigan Farm Bureau and is designed to help address food insecurity while teaching students about nutrition, cooking, and grocery shopping. Free airplane rides for kids ages 8 to 17 are coming to Pellston Regional Airport on August 19th. The Harbor Springs chapter of the Experimental Aircraft Association will offer flights from 5 to 7:30. Local volunteer pilots are donating their time and aircraft for the Young Eagles program. Parents must register in advance and accompany their child. Each participant will receive a pilot logbook and certificate. It will not be rescheduled if weather prevents flying. Grand Traverse County prosecutors are working to determine whether criminal charges can still be pursued following a report detailing decades of sexual misconduct allegations at Interlochen Center for the Arts. The independent investigation identified about 70 allegations involving 47 adults affiliated with Interlochen from the 1950s through the 2010s. The allegations range from grooming and inappropriate sexual comments to sexual assault and long-term relationships between adults and students. Grand Traverse County prosecutor Noelle Moggenberg says her office has reviewed the information provided by Interlochen and identified between 10 and 15 cases that may still be viable for criminal prosecution. Her office is seeking additional details to determine when the alleged incidents occurred and what type of misconduct was involved and whether Michigan statutes of limitations apply. First-degree criminal sexual conduct does not have any statute of limitations, while other offenses have varying deadlines depending on factors including the victim's age and circumstances of the alleged crime. Moggenberg says once the additional information is received, the cases could be turned over to the Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office for full criminal investigations. If the number of viable cases becomes too large, she says her office could seek assistance from the Michigan Attorney General's office or the state police. The investigation has prompted former Interlochen students to come forward with accounts that were not included in the report. One survivor told media outlets that the documented 70 cases could represent only a portion of the people affected. One former student, Paul Bush, has publicly described being sexually assaulted by an Interlochen ballet teacher in 2005 when he was just 16. The teacher, Thomas Clower, pleaded guilty that year to an attempted fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct and was sentenced to 90 days in jail and fired by Interlochen. Bush says he continues to seek accountability and believes the school failed to provide adequate support following the abuse. Interlochen says survivors can still submit information to the law firm that conducted the investigation through October. Meanwhile, attorneys representing other alleged survivors are also calling for action, including potential changes to state law that could reopen certain civil claims that are currently barred by statutes of limitation. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has closed an investigation into Antrim County Clerk Victoria Bishop after she allowed her husband unsupervised access to her county computer. Investigators found no evidence of criminal conduct or attempts to access the state's qualified voter file or other sensitive county records. The husband likely used the computer to watch a live stream of a county commission meeting. Nessel said the incident was a policy failure and raised concerns about election security, but did not warrant criminal charges. Michigan lawmakers who leave office will soon face a 2-year ban on lobbying under a new 3-bill package signed by Governor Whitmer. The ban also applies to former lieutenant governors, and State Department heads. Supporters, including House Speaker Matt Hall, say the cooling off period will help prevent conflicts of interest and the revolving door between elected office and the high-paying lobbying jobs. Opponents argue the law violates First Amendment rights and could discourage people from seeking office. The restrictions apply to legislators whose terms began begin in January 1st of next year. Violations could bring up to 90 days in jail, a $1,000 fine, or both. Harbor West Yacht Club is getting an $8.2 million makeover. The 158-slip marina plans to replace its aging wooden docks with floating systems, upgrade electrical service, and replace a deteriorating retaining wall. Demolition is expected to begin in October, with the new marina targeted for completion by May 1st of next year. The project will be funded through assessments on Harbor West owners. No additional slips are planned. Consumers Energy will test warning and siren systems near the Houghton Pile and Tippy hydroelectric dams on the Manistee River tomorrow around 9:30. The test will include voice messages and a 30-second siren. No action from the public is required. The Father Fred Foundation is helping local families with back-to-school costs through its annual shoe program. Students receive a free pair of brand-name shoes, 2 pairs of socks, school supplies, and water bottles with eye exams and glasses also available if needed. Children must be present to receive shoes so they can be properly fitted. The program was held Friday in Mansalona and will continue tomorrow through Friday at the Father Fred Foundation on Hastings Street in Traverse City. Mesa Consolidated Schools is considering its next steps after voters rejected a $19.3 million bond proposal last week. The funding would have been used to renovate and address maintenance needs at the district's elementary school. Superintendent Jack Ledford says economic concerns, including rising costs for gas and groceries, may have contributed to the proposal's defeat. The school board is expected to discuss possible changes tonight and could decide whether to put a revised bond proposal on the November ballot. Grand Traverse County is moving forward with plans for a new jail and justice center after a public engagement firm identified 3 major challenges with the current system. GFC International spoke with about 80 local stakeholders and gathered public feedback. The firm found growing mental health and substance abuse needs among people entering the jail, a lack of coordination between justice agencies, and challenges caused by agencies operating in separate facilities. The firm recommends a new justice campus that would bring the jail, courts, law enforcement, and other key services together while expanding space for medical and behavioral health care and intake and virtual hearings. County officials say the goal is to spend more upfront on modern infrastructure to reduce costs and improve outcomes over the long term. Additional consultants are studying county space needs and operations, and commissioners are expected to use those findings to determine the location and design of a future justice campus. Petoskey's adding several new attractions over the next month. A long-awaited dog park is set to open on the 21st at the Bear River Valley Recreation Area, about a quarter mile from the public parking lot. On the 28th, the city will unveil the Wheelway Art Walk featuring 20 original paintings along the Little Traverse Wheelway. A new Friendship Bench sculpture will also debut at the Bayfront Park that day, and a 5-sail sculpture is planned for Sunset Park in September. Northern Michigan manufacturers, mark your calendars. The Michigan Manufacturing Technology Center and Baker College of Cadillac are teaming up for Remaking Michigan 2026. The next era of manufacturing going to be held on Wednesday. It's a free event running from 8:30 to 11:30 at Baker College with check-in and breakfast starting things off. And the program kicking off at 9:30. You'll see live tech demos, hear success stories from Michigan manufacturers, and conversations on using AI and automation to boost safety and efficiency. A leadership panel featuring experts from Avon Protection Systems, Baker College, and MMTC will dig into how technology drives growth, and plus a session called Practical AI that actually works in manufacturing. You can register online at the-center.org. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel has joined a coalition of 23 other states and the District of Columbia in a lawsuit against the Trump administration challenging a June policy change by the administration for children and families. The policy expands federal access to records of temporary assistance for needy families recipients. It would permit the sharing of information such as Social Security numbers, home addresses, and immigration statuses with other federal agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security, and potentially with private entities assisting with federal integrity reviews. Nessel and the coalition argue that the changes violate federal privacy laws, the Administrative Procedure Act, and the Constitution's spending clause. that they exceed the federal government's authority under the TANF statute, which primarily assigns eligibility verification to the states. They contend the policy could deter eligible families from seeking benefits. The administration has stated that the updates are intended to strengthen program integrity and ensure states properly verify recipient citizenship or immigration status. Michigan State Police say conditions have become more dangerous for the most vulnerable road users. Deadly crashes involving bikes increased 21% last year. Pedestrian deaths were up 18%. The state police call these statistics a critical reminder that we all play a role in keeping the roads safe. Drivers are urged to slow down, eliminate distractions, and always watch for pedestrians and bicyclists, especially at intersections, crosswalks, and when turning. Pedestrians and bike riders should stay visible, obey traffic signals, and make eye contact with drivers whenever possible. A 306-acre property overlooking Grand Traverse Bay will soon permanently be protected after the Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy reached its $11 million fundraising goal for the Ridge Nature Preserve in East Bay Township. The property includes wetlands, 7,100 feet of stream frontage, an active bald eagle nest, and scenic views stretching to Old Mission Peninsula and beyond. A developer had proposed building about 1,100 homes on the site. East Bay Township secured a $4.8 million state grant toward the purchase. The preserve is not yet open to the public, but the Conservancy is working to develop trails that could eventually connect to the Tart Trail System and other nearby protected lands. It might still be summer, but the Department of Natural Resources wants Michigan hunters thinking about the fall. The DNR launched Hunter Safety Education Week today, offering dozens of in-person classes to help hunters get certified before the season kicks off. State law requires anyone born on or after January 1st, 1960 to pass a safety course to buy a license. Officials warn that waiting until right before deer season often leaves hunters out of luck when classes fill up. The DNR offers 4 different course options, but all of them require at least 4 hours of in-person training. To register or learn how to volunteer as an instructor, visit michigan.gov/hunter-education. Well, if you played the Powerball this weekend, sorry to tell you, you didn't win the jackpot. But if you want to play again, the good news is that nobody else won it either. The top prize has jumped to a whopping $905 million for tonight's drawing. The Otsego County Road Commission says the intersection of Dickerson, Milbacher, and McCoy roads in Bagley Township will be closed to through traffic beginning on August 17th for construction of a new roundabout. The closure is expected to last until about November 15th. Drivers are advised to follow the posted detour using M32, South Town Line Road, Milbacher, Plywood Road, Old Alba Road, West Otsego Lake Drive, North Otsego Lake Drive, and Old 27 South. Well, tell you what, must be nice that they actually posted a detour, because when I was down at that concert this weekend, the MDOT made the brilliant decision. So we took we took 75 down I-75 down to the Pine Knob this weekend, and the concert gets out pretty late. I think we hit the road just before 11 o'clock and trying to head back up north, and we found that all of the north exits are blocked off for road construction, seemingly all the way up to Flint. So had to, and they didn't post any detours either. I don't live down in the area, so I didn't expect to necessarily receive a notification about the road work, but the fact they had no visible posted detours and had that many exits closed, or on-ramps rather, in that specific case, was mind-boggling. Had to head all the way over to Lansing in order to get on the freeway to head back up north. So, hey, at least if you're in Otsego County, you're going to see some detour signs. Northern Michigan skywatchers have several opportunities to see celestial events this month. On Wednesday, a partial solar eclipse will be visible around midday. About 10 to 11% of the sun will be blocked, with the eclipse beginning around 12:50 p.m., reaching its maximum at about 1:27 and ending around 2:07. That same night brings the peak of the Perseid meteor shower with a new moon, and there will be little moonlight to interfere with viewing, making for potentially good meteor watching conditions. Then on August 27th, a partial lunar eclipse will begin late in the evening, continuing past midnight and end in the early morning hours. You are now caught up on local and statewide news. When we return, we're going to be joined by Deborah Pasco to talk about a very cool and unique fundraiser that's taking place this weekend, later this week in Rapid City. That conversation is headed your way after these messages. You're listening to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk, WMKT.
Fox News. I'm Deborah Valentine. President Trump signed an executive order today calling for a reevaluation of federally recommended childhood vaccines. It includes breaking up the measles, mumps, and rubella shot to individual doses.
The most serious and dangerous diseases, along with the MMR, which hopefully will be split up. You have the MMR. We want it in 3 separate vaccinations, given at separate times.
The plan is to cut the list of recommended vaccinations to 11. Joint Base Charleston is renamed Joint Base Lindsey Graham in honor of the late Senator Lindsey Graham during the ceremony where Secretary Pete Hegseth called on Congress to pass $1.5 trillion in funding for the Pentagon.
Fully funding our warriors would be one last great accomplishment for Colonel Lindsey Graham and a major part of his legacy.
America's listening to Fox News.
Life is loud. It's also fun. Hearing Health Foundation wants us to listen responsibly so we can hear all the things we love for life. Did you know that decibels measure sound intensity? But we just need to know that if it sounds too loud, it is too loud. And this can permanently harm our hearing. And it's not just about the volume, it's also about the duration, or how long we're wearing headphones to listen to music or play video games. So let's enjoy the concerts, the nights out, and the time with friends by listening smart. Let's protect our ears with earplugs. Earplugs are cool. And let's rest our ears by taking breaks in quiet, and we can turn it down even a little to help save our hearing a lot. Hearing Health Foundation wants us to keep listening to the sounds we love for life. Learn more and get more tips at hhf.org/keep listening.
What does VA mean to me?
A place for my daughter to call home, thanks to the VA Home Loan.
A new lease on life. The best healthcare team I've ever had is here at VA.
And education, and the opportunity to open doors I never thought possible with my GI Bill.
The financial support I need to manage the disabilities I developed because of my service.
Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Johnny's Torch Riviera Restaurant in Torch Lake is hosting Be a Hero by Helping Our Heroes, a community fundraiser benefiting the Firefighters Association 501c3 volunteers who provide critical assistance to local families in need, whether they're responding to medical emergencies, helping provide food, shelter, heat, Christmas gifts for children, or simply offering hope during someone's darkest day. These remarkable men and women are always there when our community needs them most. Help us help those who help us. The volunteers who save our lives in Milton Township, Kalkaska, Torch Lake, Rapid City, and surrounding areas. Join us on Friday, August 14th at 6:30 p.m. at Johnny's Torch Riviera for a live auction. Over 20 painted surfboards done by local artists and supporters will be put up for auction. Surfboards are available to see now through August 14th, and you can even put in a silent bid before the live auction at Johnny's Torch Riviera Restaurant.
Moving Asian carp control management to Michigan. Next in today's All Outdoors Update.
Please be aware, our area waters have tested positive for invasive species. Zebra mussels damage equipment, destroy aquatic food webs, and cause injuries like cuts on feet. Zebra mussels attach to underwater surfaces and reproduce rapidly. Always remember to clean, drain, and dry boats and any gear used out on the water. Spread the word, not the zebra mussels.
Michigan State House Speaker Matt Hall recently highlighting the impact of Asian carp, a dangerous fish species impacting the Great Lakes.
the invasive fish that puts our $7 billion commercial and sport fishing economy at risk.
Hall telling a rally featuring the president that management to the Brandon Road project near Chicago to block the carp from getting to Lake Michigan now is controlled by the Detroit Corps of Engineers office.
Now, because of President Trump, we're building the gate to stop the Asian carp, and Michigan is taking control of the project, not Illinois, which means Michigan will fix our Great Lakes.
That control decision was made back in April, but didn't get a lot of attention then. Project is intended to prevent the carp from getting into Lake Michigan from Chicago area rivers. We've linked to more on the effort at alloutdoorsupdate.com, and we'll have more on this coming up. I'm Jim Mishler.
Triple Talk WMKT weather forecast.
Your weather for the rest of the day, expect sunny skies and a high near 77. And as we head into tonight, partly cloudy skies coming your way with a low around 56. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies coming your way with a high near 78. And as we head into Wednesday, a chance of showers and possible thunderstorms heading into the afternoon with partly sunny skies and a high near 77. That's your weather forecast for Triple Talk 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM WMKT.
If it happens in northern Michigan, you'll hear about it right here on WMKT's Talk of the North with Nick Rudy on Northern Michigan's News Talk Leader 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk, WMKT, and streaming online at WMKTTheTalkStation.com.
Welcome back to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk WMKT, streaming online at WMKTTheTalkStation.com. There's a very cool fundraiser happening here in northern Michigan later this week, and we're talking with one of the main organizers to learn more. Joining us on the WMKT airwaves is Deborah Pascal. All right, Deb, tell us about the Be a Hero by Helping Our Heroes fundraiser, how this idea came together.
Oh, cool. You know what, Nick? Thanks for having us. The fundraiser began, a really simple idea. We were at Johnny's Torch River restaurant down in Rapid City, and we wanted to do something for the heroes. We call them the heroes, the first responders. And we came up with this idea as we're decorating the restaurant as like with beach balls and stuff, said we should do something to raise money with this and do it as a summer project. And somebody said surfboards, I think it was Jody. And we came up with this idea that we'd make some surfboards, art surfboards, not real surfboards, but art surfboards that you hang on your wall. Sure. And so we decided that we would cut out these surfboards and make them. And so we said, well, we'll get a few surfboards and to support the local responders or whatever. And then we did, and we started the project with, we thought we'd get a few. The community went crazy after we talked about it and said, we're going to paint these surfboards. You can, we'll figure out what to do with that after we paint all these surfboards. And so the community embraced it. The project now collected over 20 one-of-a-kind surfboards created by local talents. They painted them. And then we said, okay, now we've got to do something with them. So we're going to auction them off. And the community it's amazing. They're on display at Johnny's Torch River area. You can go down and see them. It's the most incredible project that came from absolutely nothing, just a simple idea, and the community just went crazy and said, "We want to help. We want to paint a surfboard." A young girl came up to us and said, "You know, once we decided who we're going to give the money to after we did this project, a fundraiser, we're going to do this surfboard thing." These people started coming up to us and said things like, "You know, they saved the first responders, saved my grandparents' lives, both grandparents, mother and grandmother and grandfather." And another lady came up and said, "They just saved my son at Torch Lake from an overdose." It's been amazing. The community has come together. It makes me almost cry. It's why I'm like hesitant a little bit to even talk about it, because it almost makes me cry. They do so much for everyone. So we did this project. We have over 20 one-of-a-kind surfboards, and they're created by the local artists and generous supporters. The Alden, we didn't even know we had a surfboard shop in Alden. We're going to cut out these surfboards, right? My husband and I are measuring it, and we're like, we can't do this. So I found out that we had a surfboard shop in Alden. We went down and borrowed a surfboard. And they were generous, and they said, sure, you can use it. We cut out a pattern for them. We cut out all these surfboards. We thought we'd do like 5 or 6 surfboards. We kept getting calls. We were in our driveway. It was a great experience in our driveway, cutting out these surfboards and people kept calling and said, we want to do it. So now if you go down to Johnny's, they're all on display now until August 14th, till the auction. They're beautiful. Makes me almost want to cry. I thought, I'll do some stencils and do some stuff because I can't paint. People actually did these beautiful, one-of-a-kind art pieces. There's one that if I was having a grandchild, I would put in a nursery, but they're just absolutely gorgeous. People that said they couldn't paint came up with these gorgeous surfboards. So they're going to go to all the money that's raised from this is going to the local first responders. And we heard stories that you can't even believe. And everybody thinks of 911. Mm-hmm. They do so much more. They do. I mean, people that can't afford groceries, emergencies, stuff. They do. It's amazing what they do that I didn't even realize that they did. They do. If you can't afford to pay the rent, you can't do your heat bill. They do so much more than just 911, which is so important. Obviously, we just watched somebody get saved yesterday when we were out on our boat from the first responders. They give Christmas gifts to the children. They give so much more. So it's just a cool thing that we're giving to. But I'm so proud of our community that came together and did this. They just all, I'm telling you, it makes me cry. They just came out and said, can we have a surfboard? We want to do this. We want to help. We want to help raise money. It's just been a wonderful thing.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the funding's going to go locally. That was one of my questions was, how you're ensuring that this money is going to be spent locally. It's the Firefighters Association that this money's being donated to, correct?
Correct. And it's going to go to the local ones. That's it's like Torch Lake, Rapid City, Kalkaska. It's all the ones in Milton Township and all the surrounding areas. But, it doesn't stop just if they need help, anything all the way to Traverse City. Sure. These guys, all these ones that help each other. So it's pretty amazing. I was shocked by the whole thing. We just came up and we were just sitting at the restaurant talking about how can we do some fun stuff for the summer. And then somebody came up with a surfboard. I think it was Jody that owns Johnny, said, let's do some surfboards and let's paint them and do this. And we did. We thought 5 or 6. We're up to 25, and we're going to auction them off. Then we said, well, what are we going to do with them and how are we going to raise the money? So we came up with the idea of having an auction, a live auction on August 14th at Johnny's. And they've opened the restaurant. It's amazing. They have them all over the restaurant. They move them every time it gets busy. They move all these surfboards, but they're beautiful. And so we decided we'd auction them off there because that's where people are seeing them on August 14th. So it's cool. Ask me some questions, Nick.
August 14th. Is the event open to anybody in the community, and do people need to purchase tickets? Do they have to register ahead of time? How does all that work?
Yes, thank you. They can go review them now, so they're there now. You can put in a silent bid on August 14th. No, it's free, open to the public. We invite everyone to come. That's really how it's going to be successful. Now that we have all these surfboards that we weren't expecting, and they're beautiful, we need the public and the community that's supporting and tourists, whoever are here at the time, come down and please come down. You can do a silent bid. You can do a live auction bid at 6:30 on August 14th. You can be with the live auction, have a great dinner. They have great food. And so, please come. That's the only way it's going to be really, truly successful is if we can get the people there to support it.
Certainly, and not to put the cart before the horse, but is this something that you said this kind of came together all of a sudden, but all the pieces fell in place. But is this something that you might be looking to put together with your group, a group of people, maybe on a yearly basis, or is this going to be kind of a one-time special event?
We would love to. Johnny's does a lot of small fundraisers during each of the holidays, different things. They do fundraisers, and they've been great. But we'll see how this year goes. And if it goes as well as this year has, the community has just supported it. I mean, over the top. I'm telling you, it's a tearjerker to know how the community has supported this and the stories we've heard from the community members that first responders have taken care of. So, yeah, we'll do it again if it works as well this year, and we can do it next year. And they truly are. It's not like we're saying surfboard, so everyone has to know it's not. You can't take it out the lake and surf on it. They're pieces of beautiful art. It's really, truly what I said the other day was it's like a surfboard museum for pieces of art. And so they're beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous, and people have done a wonderful job and supported it. It's been amazing.
Deborah, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Nick, thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for supporting the project, and please get the public to come out and support it, because that's how it's going to work. It's going to be successful if we can get the public out to bet on them and to get to take home a wonderful piece of art.
Thanks again to Deb for joining us today. And again, this fundraiser is on Friday at Johnny's Torch Riviera in Rapid City. We're going to take another quick break, and when we return, we have some sports to talk about. That's headed your way after these messages. You're listening to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM Triple Talk, WMKT.
Too many families face a widening gap between what they can afford and what they need to thrive. More than half of families in the U.S. today are one paycheck away from financial crisis. At Good 360, we deliver hope when families need it most, providing essentials like clothing, hygiene items, and household goods. Put help within reach. Learn more at good360.org.
It's time for Featuring a Farmer, presented by Ellsworth Farmers Exchange, a proud Legend Seeds dealer.
We're with Chet Craw, the owner of Entrusted Earth Family Farm in Boyne City. So you mentioned you go to the farmer's market in Boyne City. You have a produce stand and some restaurants. You want to expand on that a little bit so people know how to best support your farm.
So the farm itself is located on Zenith Heights Road, which is just off of Camp Daggett Road. We got a little farm stand right there. It's a little white building, and we keep that stocked with just about everything that's whatever I cut this morning. If you want fresh, that's usually the spot to get whatever I cut first thing in the morning. And then the restaurants, yeah, we've had really strong support from Cafe Sante. Has always been a very strong supporter of using as many local ingredients as they can. And then also Happy's Tacos in town has been a really strong supporter, wanting the freshest products they can get for their tacos.
Are you a farmer interested in being on the show? Call Nathan Swales in the Ellsworth Farmers Exchange corporate office. 4 locations to serve you: Melanson, Mansalona, Atwood, and Ellsworth. On Triple Talk, WMKT.
How do you know you're home? At Habitat for Humanity, we believe it's when you find peace, stability, and safety. But 1 in 3 people on Earth woke up today without a good home. Not because of chance, but because of high costs and other very real barriers. A housing crisis this big needs all of us. So let's open the door to opportunity and build a tomorrow where home is possible for everyone. Visit Habitat.org to learn more. Again, that's Habitat.org. Habitat for Humanity. Let's open the door.
This is St. Jude patient Cypress. She's 8. She loves video chatting with her grandma.
Hi, Mimi. I'm so ready to go fishing with you, Mimi.
She finished treatment for a solid tumor at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Now she can spend her days making plans instead of thinking about cancer.
I like where they sit upon and maybe catch a big bass.
Thanks to supporters like you, the team at St. Jude has helped push the overall childhood cancer survival rate in the U.S. from 20% to more than 80%. And we won't stop until no child dies from cancer.
And I'm so ready to go fishing with my mom and my sister and my brother. I think I'm going to catch the biggest fish.
This is what childhood should be like. Let's help more kids just be kids. Learn more at stjude.org. Finding cures, saving children.
The headlines, the issues, and the news that affects Northern Michigan. WMKT's Talk of the North with Nick Rudy on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM Triple Talk WMKT. Call in and be part of the conversation at 866-371-1270.
Welcome back to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM, Triple Talk WMKT, streaming online at WMKT-TheTalkStation.com. Lots to discuss in the world of sports. We're going to kick it off with Traverse City Pittsburghers because it will be the last time that we talk about them till next year, unfortunately. This is something, it's the clutch gene. It's crazy. It's one of those things where they were good all season long, and you'll hear why they were good all season long. But when it really mattered, they just couldn't get that one extra win, and that one extra win is all they needed multiple times this season. And so here's what happened. So if you recall, Northwoods League in which they play, the playoffs are deemed by who wins in all their divisions, the winners of all the divisions in the first half of the season and the second half of the season, split up between the All-Star break for them. They make it to the playoffs. And let's say, for instance, that the team that places first in the first half of the season also places first in the second half of the season. Well, whoever has the best overall record, and whoever has the second best overall record in that division would make the playoffs. But that didn't matter for the Great Lakes East, where the Pittsburghers find themselves. And so in the first half of the season, they were up like 5 games with about 2 weeks left, and they just went on a really, really bad losing streak, and they ended up getting leapt by the Kenosha Kingfish by a single game, and technically not even. It was actually a half a game that they lost by and missed out on the playoff spot alongside the Kalamazoo Growlers. Really bad way to end the first half of the season. They missed it by half of a game, and I remember distinctly telling producer Austin, man, you just can't let those kind of things slip away because you just never know what's going to happen, in the second half. Yes, they have an opportunity. Well, same thing happened. They led for at least part of the season, part of the second half of the season. Not as long as the first half, but they led and they were competitive the entire time. And they had a whole bunch of other teams, flip-flopping on top, bypassing them, taking first place, falling off. Somebody else took first place. Well, ultimately, the Pittsburghers, they went on a massive run at the end of the season. Won the last 5 games, went 8-2 over the last 10. They tied with the Royal Oak Leprechauns at 24-12 in the second half of the season, and they lost the playoff spot due to a tiebreaker head-to-head with Royal Oak. If they had won one more game against Royal Oak, they'd be in the playoffs. If they had won just one more game in the second half of the season, they'd be in the playoffs. If they had won just one more game in the first half of the regular season, they'd be in the playoffs. So they missed the playoffs between the first half and the second half by a total of 1/2 of a game. And what's crazy is overall they had by far the best record in the Great Lakes East at 45-27. Royal Oak was in second, 2 full games behind them. So you don't see that happen very often. Traverse City, the best team from the beginning of the season to the end, but when you split it up, they just had too many errors towards the end of the season. So big bummer for them. But, statistically, a great season overall. Lions, they have some injury concerns again. I don't know what it is, if it's strength and conditioning or if it's Dan Campbell or both, but they have to figure something out because ever since Dan Campbell took over this team and installed his own coaching staff, it has been nonstop injuries. And, you have to kind of get the 100-foot view. I understand that maybe teams deal with the same number of injuries, but the significance of the injuries to this team is always what's mind-boggling. Outside of Jared Goff being hurt, we've had significant injuries to every single critical position on this team over the past 3 years. We don't have any actual safeties who are worth a hoot. And same goes for our cornerbacks, although our starting cornerbacks, CB1, that was a completely different issue. But for the second year in a row, we do not have a center, as the center that we drafted, Cade Mays, is going to be out 8 to 10 weeks with a broken wrist. And also the guy that we got to replace David Montgomery, understand that, Jahmyr Gibbs is running back 1, but in the Dan Campbell offense, you have to have 2 running backs. You want one guy with speed. You want one guy with toughness. Isaiah Pacheco has an MCL sprain. Campbell says he's probably going to be ready ahead of week 1 for the NFL season, but it's just one of those other things. And is he going to be 100%? Probably not. There's just so many weird injuries. I mean, even Jahmyr Gibbs is actually ramping back up from an injury himself too. So there's too many injuries on this team this early in, what's not even technically the season. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it always seems to target our skill positions, whether it be Laporta or whether it be pretty much anybody in our offensive line who's super important to the way this offense rumbles. I don't know. It's our cornerbacks. I hear plenty of injuries from other teams, but oftentimes it's their second string tight end or it's their third string middle linebacker, stuff like that. And not to say that other teams don't have significant injuries, but it's usually one. It's not usually 7 players who are, our center, our second running back, our entire DB room, things like that. So really the only position that the Lions have not been hurt in routinely over the past 3 years is linebacker. They have stayed largely healthy, but we've had injuries with wide receiver. We've had injuries with our tight ends. We had to actually go to the market to get tight ends because we had all 3 tight ends on the IL at one point last season. We've had more limited injuries to our running back room and quarterback, thankfully, but our entire offensive line, our entire defensive line have been injured. So hopefully they can, break that curse. Most important week of baseball, headed to the Motor City this week as they play Cleveland for 3 games and then the White Sox for 3 games. And boy, oh boy, I mean, it all comes down to this. I mean, could they split essentially these 6 games, win 3, lose 3? Sure, and be just at the same spot as they were when they entered this week. It's totally possible. And in fact, it would be the most Tigers thing to do, where they enter 1 game out of the final wild card spot and exit 1 game out of the final wild card spot and exit 3.5 games out of first place, and we just kind of redo it all over next week. But talk about an opportunity. Cleveland is slumping. They're 3-7. Some may say that they're due for a win. Unfortunately, that's how my brain usually operates. White Sox, they're playing still pretty well overall. They're 5-5, but they're kind of on the up more recently. They took 2 out of 3 against Cleveland. Tigers are in second place in the division, 3.5 games behind the White Sox. And the White Sox in the interim, while we play Cleveland, let's take a look at who they're playing. Given the way things are going, I believe it's going to be a divisional opponent. Let me check here. They are going to be playing... No, they're playing the Reds, actually. So they're not a great team. They're not a terrible team, though, either. So hopefully the Reds beat up on the White Sox for us, because that'd make our lives a lot easier later in the week. But the concern that I have is we have a pitching imbalance going in against Cleveland. They have better pitchers in every single start. Drew Anderson is pitching against Tanner Beavy, their ace. Tomorrow we have Foster Griffin's 3.3 ERA against Valdez's 4.1 ERA. And then we have Montero, who has been generally decent, but his last 2 outings have been concerning against Parker Misick, who actually has the lowest ERA on the Guardians as far as starters go, with 2.5 ERA. So Tigers, a lot of work to do, and we will be glued to our radios for that for the next 7 days, technically, because they're off today. That is all the time that we have for today's show. Thank you, as always, for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with more of the news you need to know. You're listening to WMKT's Talk of the North on 102.3 and 103.3 FM, 1270 AM Charlevoix. It's Triple Talk WMKT. Have a great night.